Ecuador. It is so diverse. Depending on the region, if you're in the coast, the Andes, the Amazon, Galapagos, but also it is one of the most important meals, and that is because it is comforting, it is refreshing, it can be fulfilling, and it can also cure a hangover. Here are my favorite soups in Ecuador.
This Ecuadorian breakfast of Encebollado is the best thing I have ever had for breakfast. This is one of the most famous places to have it. And Encebollado is basically references an onion soup. There's tons of red onion in here. The best quality soups will have albacore tuna, a rich broth, and this is known as a hangover cure. I'm gonna try it without the ají first, and then I'm gonna put some in because like spicy fish soup, oh, so good. All right, just fresh fish, good stock. So good, so good. The fish is so tender. This stock, because it's got onion and fresh herbs in it, just so fresh. Oh my God. This is so good. We arrived in Guayaquil last night and it was okay. But this place has just like kicked off this coastal tour. I'm gonna eat like Encebollado every morning.
Colada here is served in this like clay dish. It is very smooth. It's not too thick, but you can see it's a fine blend. I love cumin, and that's the first taste that I have right here is cumin. A very nice kind of like creamy soup. If you like puree of different vegetables, this is exactly what it tastes like. It's tasty. I can see why it's a good base for other things. The easiest way to eat this is just to dunk it in and then Okay. This is really good. So the cuy itself is super tender, and then in this broth, it just adds this whole other flavor. It almost feels like a stew, like a turkey stew, where you have this gravy and you have the turkey or the chicken in it. This is good. This is called Locro or Locro de Papa, and it is a potato soup. And the reason why I want to share it is that it's actually traditionally a vegan soup. Color of potatoes here in Ecuador, so incredible, very creamy. So Locro is a dish that has cheese added to it often, and then also egg. But the number one thing that you must have is actually avocado. This is essential. Oh man. Everyone has their secret. Some people put in some fresh herbs, dry herbs, or maybe pork lard. Chunks of potato too.
Yeah, this place is the best about that soup.
This is good soup. And we are having a set lunch. The first dish is Sopa de Fideos, or it's a noodle soup. But if you're going to serve an almuerzo, if you're going to charge for a very humble soup, you have to do it well. And they do that here. So how they make it is, even though this is a chicken noodle soup, they use bow-tied noodles. And they are first sauteed, they're toasted in a pan. And then they are put into the soup and cooked within the soup. We also put in some mote,
con cáscara, and that is the mote or the hominy that still has the husk on it. That is supposed to be extra nutrition. It's a very traditional way to eat mote, and you put it right in your soup. This is a fantastic soup. It's just rich stock. It has the mote, which gives it a bit of texture. Those noodles, which are toasted. And then, of course, they've got some ají. They make it here. It's the tree tomato ají. Now put a little bit in here to start. They have fantastic ají.
Breakfast at Cabana Vanessa, I really just wanted soup for breakfast. This is a fish soup called Sudado, and it is just fresh fish. It's a tomato base. Oh, that broth is so good. I'm gonna put a little bit of lime in it. Oh man, this is good.
All right, so I went from the comedores to the next room, which is more like a food court kind of place. I came here to try two different soups. They're both the same name. They're both called Repe, which means unripe banana. So in Loja, they have this smallish banana that you can eat ripe, and that's how the rest of the country eats it. Or in Loja, they also eat it unripe, which is very unusual for other Ecuadorians. The repe con arveja con guineo is like a kind of like a split pea soup, and then it also has cubes of this unripe banana that is uncooked. So this is raw unripe banana in this repe. And then they have another one, very, very typical of Loja, and it's called Repe Blanco. The key to having either of these is actually an avocado. Like this, and then a little bit of soup?
Yes.
Okay,
Like,
all right.
You know.
I'm gonna try it the proper way. This is a big piece of avocado. Oh, this is good. Okay, now let's see if the Repe Blanco, I'm curious to try it. It's not bad.
As a Maritimer, you know I love some chowder. So this is Ecuador's seafood chowder. It's called Parihuela, and it is kind of everything that you can get in the mangrove area. So I can see some shrimp, some of that black clam. Of course, we've got crab, which is local to the area, and calamari, along with some kind of fish. I'm not really sure what kind of fish this is. Anyway, just being close to somewhere that has shrimp is amazing. It is like a nice, creamy chowder. It has a strong taste of seafood because you do have those clams. It's really good. These shrimp are cooked perfectly. Look how big they are. Now here they do put a crab on top. I don't know if I want to get my hands messy with that though. Oh, the toughest thing about this will be saying I don't want to eat any more of it. It tastes very fresh, not like super fishy, or I know some people complain that seafood tastes too fishy, but this is not. Super, super fresh.
We have this huge bowl of Caldo de Bola. So Caldo de Bola literally means ball soup, ball stew. And what it is they take a hand size of green mashed plantain and they put it into a soup and then they simmer it just in this broth. It has some cabbage in it, and then also I see they've got a little bit of looks like a beef bone, and it is all about this stock. So this is a huge starter. Like plantain is a massive thing to get through. This is like a mini bolon de verde. And so this is really meant to be like a hearty soup, but really, as I said, it's all about this broth. Oh, this broth is good. And then they gave us a little bit of this lime. So listen, if you see lime on your table, that means you're supposed to use it. You know, try the soup, try your meal, but then you gotta put the lime on it because lime is just gonna make it taste so much better. And then this place also makes its own ají, a sign of a great place. They really care about it, but it comes out steaming hot, so good. I wanted something warm and cozy for lunch, and so I got the quinoa soup. Now, quinoa is an interesting ingredient in Ecuador because it is definitely a traditional ingredient. It's very thick, almost like a, you know what, if you didn't know, you might even think this was like a cream of corn soup. It's hot and steamy on this cold and rainy day. It's like a tasty kind of porridge style. They've left some chunks of the quinoa in it, so it's not completely a puree. You still kind of get this like tasty texture to it. I don't know, can you see all of that? That is, they served this piping hot. It is steaming. The simple dishes aren't easy to make because you don't have a lot to make the flavor. So everything you do has to be on point. And this is fantastic. It is Caldo de Salchicha. And so that translates as hot dog soup or wiener soup. So it has a little bit of a double entendre. This is yet another Ecuadorian hangover cure. This soup is made from morcilla, also known as blood sausage or black sausage. And the place that we stopped to try it here is El Palacio de Seco. So they have a lot of great secos, a traditional Ecuadorian dish. However, this dish is this rich, brothy soups with morcilla, some vegetables, some fresh herbs, and of course we are on the coast, so it's also going to have some plantain. I'm going to try it first with just the morcilla, and then afterwards a lot of people add lime juice, so we'll try it that way too. This is really good. It is really earthy, comfort food. Now, this is a soup that makes use of all parts of the animal. There is some offal in it, O-F-F-A-L, not awful. It has kidney, chicken heart, and liver in it. But I will say this, it is cooked so well, I could not taste any of that kind of really strong liver or kidney flavor. It's just very smooth. All right, so now we're at a restaurant called La Barca, and we're here for a very traditional dish from Esmeraldas called Ensumacado. However, here I've noticed that they also drop their D's like they do in Cuba. So they spell it on the menu, Ensumacado, which is just like this. Oh, and here we go. It is huge. Wow. This is definitely a family-sized dish. This is like 4 people. It's got this creamy sauce. I can smell the peanuts. I'm gonna try the sauce first. It definitely has like a deep, rich, peanutty sauce, not like peanut butter. Right now I've got seafood, and I think that might be a little bit of fish. It's interesting. It reminds me of the ceviche, because ceviche has that sauce of mani or peanut and is warm and creamy and peanutty. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm enjoying this, but it's like sometimes you have beautiful seafood and you just want to let that flavor shine instead of putting something on it. Seafood is cooked so well. at Vista Al Mar, which is right on the water. And we made a decision based on almuerzo. So almuerzo is a set lunch. You get a drink, a soup, a main. They were pretty much the same. Although over here you could also get steak or chicken. Why? Oh, we did get that yesterday. But really, we're on the coast, so we wanted to have some seafood. The Sancocho has arrived. It's hot. It looks really interesting. So Sancocho is the name for so many different kinds of soup. This one is thicker. It's a little bit brown, so I think there's some mani in there. And it's a Sancocho de Pescado, so a fish Sancocho. And it has so much fish. Fish looks so good. I think I could have just gotten this. We've got some yuca, so that is always fantastic. Look at that fish. This is amazing soup. So here's a tip. If you're going to our real, authentic fishing village, breakfast begins early. In fact, on the street as early as 5:30 a.m. We decided to get it at 10 a.m. Too late. The nice thing is, lunch also is early. It begins at 11:30 a.m. And we are at Risas del Mar. And actually, we're here because it also offers a dish in the almuerzo that I love. It's called Viche. Now, Viche is a pre-Columbian soup in Ecuador, and it's full of all of the local ingredients. So you'll have mani, squash, pumpkin, corn, beans. I see some carrots in here, I think. It's basically a soup that's just full of the bounty of this area, which includes fish. But anyway, let's get to the soup. I believe this is plantain, also local to the area. It's like if you could take a corviche and turn it into a soup. That is what viche would be. It has that, delicious warm peanutty flavor. It's got the fish in it. It's so good. It's also filling. So personally, unless you're starving, I would recommend, if you get the almuerzo and part of it is viche, that you just split it, because this soup is enough for me for lunch for sure. So we're having caldo de cabeza de mocho. So in this, I can see it's like a milky type of broth. I can see they've also got some green onion in it, and then yes, I can see we've got some innards. We've got some tripe. I think we've got some stomach lining and some other things like that. I'm gonna try it straight, and then I'm also gonna try it with ají, because they have two types of ají here. They've got this ají, which you know how I feel about that, but then they also have tree tomato ají. Trying to find a piece that maybe doesn't have a lot in it. Wow, this is really good. It has the lightness of like a chicken soup broth, but this is lamb, but it doesn't taste gamey. And then it has all of those spring onions, the green onions, which make it feel super light. Now, because we're in Cuenca, we're in the Andes, they also gave us some mote. I'm gonna put a little in here. If you're like a little bit queasy, if you're like, oh, I don't know what tripe feels like, I don't know what the texture's gonna be, the mote kind of fills it up, and so you get the taste of the lamb without actually feeling like you're eating tripe. I don't mind it. All right, so we are now at another spot, which is one of my favorites, also around the corner from Casa Cuencana, and is known as, it's one of the most famous almuerzo spots in Cuenca, Ecuador. So the soup is the same. It's Sopa Casera, which is like a home-style soup that they make here. It gives a little bit of body to that soup. It's really great. Join my Patreon community for more behind the scenes and exclusive content you won't find elsewhere. You can also find me on Instagram, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. All of these things make my day. Thank you so much for your support.